Hey dorks, just a quick message reminding you to head over to twitch.tv/mindgappodcast and give us a follow. We live stream when we record our new podcast episodes, and we're live streaming video game sessions on Saturday nights at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Time. We're playing super rad stuff like Among Us, Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes, Jackbox games, and Tabletop Simulator. Come hang out and play along with us. That's twitch.tv/mindgappodcast.
Mind Gap Podcast.
Hey everybody, welcome to Mind Gap Podcast. I'm Doug.
I'm Justin.
And joining us this week is the one and only Gunch Daddy, the Gunch Pot, the JJ Pogchap liaison. Please welcome back Guncher Reno. Please welcome back Noah Reno.
Hello, everybody.
What do you?
I was on the wrong. You know what? I was on the wrong board. I was on the. I was on that board. I was on the 0.7 second drop board. Yeah.
Big difference.
That's my bad.
Big difference. Noah, thanks so much for coming back on the show, man. It's glad to have you back.
Thank you for having me again.
Of course. You are a celebrated member of the Mind Gap podcast family, and it's just an absolute joy to have you digitally with us now. So
it's exciting. Our topics this day are gonna be crazy.
Would you say they are going to be poggers?
That's my best Jared Leto Joker.
I knew it. That's perfect. This is why I love you.
Yeah, I definitely didn't like his laugh. But we'll get into that. We got some other shit we're going to get through first. But first of all, Justin, I had a question I asked you before we started, and that question is, if you were to have an OnlyFans account, what would you do with your OnlyFans account? What would you do to allure people to come to your site, your page at OnlyFans, and to pay, is it $10, $5?
I would charge $5.
That's fair. Well, come on, don't sell yourself short.
Well, here's the thing. I want my fans to be able to see what I'm doing. I don't want to, make anyone poor in the pockets, if you will. I want to make their pockets taut with my content.
For those of you who don't know what OnlyFans is, it's a site where you can go and essentially people pay what they want to view your site, and you could be nude, you could post videos, you could diddle yourself, you could diddle someone else, whatever. It's an opportunity for people to do honest sex work. I think it's really cool. For me,
I mean, that's a possibility. You can do honest sex work. You could also, there are some regular people who just do whatever. Like they use it as a different kind of Patreon almost.
Just like you can go to Pornhub to watch like pirated movies, right?
Or Minecraft Let's Plays.
Exactly. I mean, technically it does exist there.
There you go. Yeah.
But so mostly it's sex work.
I mean, if you're going to call it what it is, but yeah, exactly. I would, the majority of what my channel would be is I would read Gordon Ramsay's cookbooks in a very sensual manner, ASMR style. That would be the gist of my channel.
Justin, could you give us a taste, maybe an appetizer of what this might sound like?
Yeah, of course.
Maybe an accent, maybe German.
Maybe.
You want German? Okay, yeah. Take the pork butt out of the marinade that you've had it in overnight. Tenderly place the pork butt on your smoker. Increase the heat ever so slightly. And that'd be it. That'd be a gist of. Look, I don't want to give too much away. It's $5 a month if you want more of that.
But that's good. That's a good start. Slotty took the thought right out of my head was Gilbert Gottfried also doing ASMR. Would also be interesting.
Gilbert Gottfried doing ASMR.
All right, tenderly go to sleep as you listen
listen to the sound of my voice. Scratch, scratch, goes the kitty cat.
Was he reading a children's book?
Maybe, I don't know. What do you want him to do? You get to decide.
You get to choose. $5 a month. The power is yours.
I also have my first couple. Oh, this was a mistake. I've got so many retweets from sex accounts now.
What?
Yes, that's what we want.
Sexy Promotion retweeted, and they quoted the tweet going, "Lovely content. DM your pictures for shout out on Instagram. We help you to grow your OnlyFans at Instagram over 11 million network. Most visit."
Yes.
That's in clear-cut English, so you know it's legit.
Yeah.
They tuned into the stream and they saw what you were promoting.
Right. Someone using Angelina Jolie's headshot and their name is Jerry said, "Promote this on twitter.com/OnlyFanWorld retweet."
Yeah.
Oh, this was a mistake. I'm going to have to burn this account down now.
MindGap immediately has 5,000 followers on Twitch.
Now, for me, personally, if I was doing OnlyFans, it would all be belly button stuff because I think that is an untapped market. And if you all know, my belly button is cavernous. It's like a black hole. And it's something that I think is beautiful.
You also have pepperoni nipples. You could play.
I do. I have
into that a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd be like, where are we going to go? You know, it was just, it could be like, get it so that it's like the mouth is the belly button. It's giving you good advice. Maybe it's jerk off instructions. I don't know. I mean, the world's our oyster, right?
Yeah.
So let's jerk the oyster off. Am I right?
I think you've got something there, actually. I think jerk off instructions would like very specific, like for, I don't know, man. Maybe just like Dungeons and Dragons players, but like the hyper specific ones, like people who have been DMing since the 90s. Maybe like specifically for Gary Gygax, like one specifically for Gary Gygax.
What about?
I think you could do that, like a cameo for jerk off.
What if
now we're talking?
Did a Joy video? I feel like that'd be the real sweet spot right there.
Which one did you say?
Gilbert Godfrey did a Joy video. Yeah.
All right, you piece of shit. Here we go.
Now start slow.
Pull down your pants.
Exactly. Spit on your palm.
Or do it dry if you're that kind of guy.
Bite the pillow. I'm coming in dry.
What's up, Fancy Robin? How you doing? Wow, what a great start to this show. That's what I'm talking about. This is how we loosen up. Woo, woo. Well, a couple things. Let's get out of the way real quick. Be sure to follow us on Spotify if you don't already, or wherever you find your podcast, but also be sure to check us out on Spotify. Number 2, be sure to check out our Discord server. Join our Discord community. Head over to twitch.tv/MindGapPodcast. Down below in our About section, you'll find a little button that says Discord. Click right on that. Come join our community. We post silly memes all the time. We're just generally active, and we set up game nights. It actually is really cutting into my productivity because I see people are playing games, and I'm like, or someone's like, "Doug, what are you doing?" "I want to play games." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going to not do the thing that I need to do and play Heroes of the Storm or Overwatch or Left 4 Dead 2 or whatever else everyone wants to play." It's a lot of fun. So come check us out, join our Discord, join our family. It'll be great. Also, check out our merch on Redbubble, redbubble.com. In the search field, just type in MindGap Podcast. You'll find our 2 designs there. One is our MindGap Podcast classic logo. The other one is I Will Haunt Your Butt. You can find all those logos.
Haunt your butt.
That's it. You'll find it all there. And yes, Jared, I don't ignore your Fortnite requests. I just don't play. Does that count? When you ask me, it's at the worst possible times. You're like, "Doug, come play," and I'm like, it's like times where I'm spending with my family. So I apologize. It's not that I don't love you. I do. Sorry. I do love you, Jared. So much. All the way. I love you. But check us out on Redbubble for all of our merch. Help support the podcast. And last but not least, we record live on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Central, our podcast, which is what we're doing right now. And then Saturday nights at 8 p.m. Central, we do our video game live stream where I host something fun. At least I think it's fun. You come hang out. And this Saturday, we're going to be playing Spyfall on Tabletop Simulator. If you're not familiar with Spyfall, it's a board game that's now digital, where essentially it's a game of bluffing and deception. A little bit of deduction, where people are handed a card. On that card is a location and a role. And one of the people has a card that says spy. And the spy is trying to figure out where they are as people ask questions. And people are trying to figure out who the spy is. So it's a little bit like sussing people out and figuring out what's going on. And it's going to be a really good time. I'm super excited. So come join us. It'll be fun. You can maybe guess along and see who's a piece of shit, who's lying, who's not. You be a detective. We want you to come join us. Call Noah out and be like, it's Noah. Because I can't wait to see, because Noah is his stipulation for playing this is you have to be in character. So once you see that role, you got to play that character in character. So it should be a real treat. I can't wait. So, yeah, Jervis, come join us, man. Tabletop Simulator, if you got it, come play with us. So, Saturday, 8 p.m. Central, twitch.tv/MindGapPodcast. Now, back to Gilbert Gottfried's jerk-off instructions. AKA the Snyder Cut. Hey, spoiler alert, we're talking about the Snyder Cut tonight for Justice League that launched last Thursday on HBO Max. It's a 4-hour endeavor. And today, we're going to break it down. We're going to go through. Noah took extensive notes live while he was watching it. We thought he would be the perfect guest to have on here to talk about this. And I think it'll be great. So, kick things off. Did you guys watch it?
Oh, yes.
No.
Well, it'll be a fun show.
No, I did. Yes.
Spoiler alert, just ahead of time in case anybody doesn't know. We're going to be going into this film. So, here we go.
Yeah.
So, yes, and also thank you, Fancy Ramen, for hanging out with us. He's a great streamer as well, so check him out at Fancy Ramen TV. Good guy. We got a lot to get into. This was 4 hours, which was twice the length of the theatrical cut, 2017. But initial thoughts on it. What were you like going into it? What did you kind of like? What was your overall sort of experience? Like, what are your thoughts? Noah, let's start with you.
Going in, I was not having any of it. I didn't want to watch the movie to begin with, and I never watched the Justice League 2017 movie. Coming out of it, it was pretty good, man. You know, it's like worth it. No, but it was free, and I didn't have to go somewhere to watch it, and I got to like eat food in between, and it was fine. I'm better. I'm maybe not a better person coming out of it, but I'm better knowing that it's in the world and other people liked it. I think maybe.
Very definitive answer, and I respect it.
I was going to say, yeah, way to be committal on that.
I didn't watch it.
He gives half answers the whole time. He's like, it was, it's like a duality kind of thing. It's just, there's both sides. And, he's the spy.
Right.
Justin, what did you think? What were you like going into it? And
I didn't think that I could hate a movie more than I hated the 2017 Justice League. And I am still correct in that because I did not hate this movie. How about that for a misdirection? No, I went into this with as anyone who listens to this podcast knows, I went into this with very low expectations, and those expectations were exceeded, but it's not hard to do when they're very, very low. At the end of the day, I'll say this. When I'm wrong, I'll fully admit to it. I was wrong about this movie. You and I kind of shat on it leading up to it. Without really any caveats, I enjoyed the movie. I actually liked it. I thought it wasn't an in-game, but I thought it was a good movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I did not feel like the 4 hours was I didn't feel like I was slogging through it necessarily. So, and we can get more into that, but overall, I did not feel like it was a slog. There were moments, but overall it was great. Doug, what did you think?
I had the same thing. Like, I had extremely low expectations. I was like, why are they doing this? This seems like a waste of time, a waste of money. I watched the Justice League movie in 2017 one time, and it was incredibly forgettable. And I was kind of like, part of me like going out, I was like, you know what? I'm curious because I don't remember much of the movie previously. I remember beats, but I don't remember specifics. Like, I was wondering if I'd be able to find scenes that I recognized, which I was, but I was like, overall, I'm like, am I going to be able to tell like a significant difference? 2 hours added to it. Yes, I could tell there was a difference. I kind of was in the same boat with you, Justin, where I'm like, I came away, and same thing with you, I came away going, you're like, you know what? It was fine. You know, it was, I found myself in the last hour being like, oh, wow, I kind of, like, I didn't want to go to the bathroom. I was like, even though I could pause it, I have that power, but I was like, I kind of want to wait. I'm like, I don't know, I'm engaged. I'm engaged with what's going on. You know, it was enjoyable. Now, I would say it is a bit of a slog, and I am not running back to rewatch it anytime soon, which is a big thing for me, rewatchability with stuff. Like, that's a hallmark of a good movie for me. If I want to go back and rewatch it, with the exception of if it's super depressing, I'm like, that was great, I don't think I can watch that again kind of film. But this wasn't that. It was just like, yeah, I watched it. It was almost like an achievement. When I was done, I'm like, I did it. Whew. Like, achievement unlocked. And then it was, you know, I was kind of like, wow. It actually kind of sucked the energy out of me. Like, I felt, you know, I didn't watch Falcon and Winter Soldier until today, which is Tuesday. Like, I didn't get around to it until today. Like, I was so trying to watch it. Actually, I watched it in two sessions. I thought I was going to have to spread it out over the whole weekend. Yeah. I watched about an hour, and then I had to go do something else, and then the next day I watched the rest of it. So it was an interesting ride. So
you're saying this weekend was very emotional? Yeah,
I was just like, when I was done, I'm like, well, I did it. I did my good deed. I think I'm good here. I think I'm cleared to do something else. So
I can go enjoy the sunlight.
Yeah. So let's get into it, man. Let's
dive in.
Yeah. Let's dive in. Noah, where do you want to start?
Oh, where else is there to start but the beginning?
There we go.
I mean, fucking Christ, dude. I was like, not at all. I went in with low expectations, and then the first fucking 2 hours, I was still on those low expectations. I was like, not at all impressed with the first 2 hours of the movie because it was just bad. Like, it was just nothing. It was unsubstantial, fucking forgettable nonsense. The only shit that I remember of the movie was the shit that I was fucking taking notes on because it was so fucking poor. Discuss.
So give me an example. Like, what are some of the things that stood out to you that
the staggering thing was in one of the opening shots of the film with Jesse Eisenberg standing in a pool of water. He wasn't standing in a pool of water. He was standing on a sound stage, and they made his clothes look wet. And then they put this shitty CGI water in there that looked so bad. I don't know how they get away with this stuff. They put how much fucking money into this movie? Just reshoot it.
They shot that. It was an extra $70 million is what they put into it, you know?
I will definitely agree that specific shot in that opening sequence, that was very noticeable. I will 100% concede that point. Yes, it was
bad.
Because they got him for reshoots. They shot new scenes with Jesse Eisenberg. Put him in a
pool of water. Someone in LA has an above ground pool. Just put him in that.
Someone, especially one that hasn't been cleaned.
Right.
I mean, do you want dirty water? You can get dirty water, man.
Yeah, for sure.
So that was example one.
Yeah, I was confused by that scene. Well, because the whole opening, again, one of my biggest issues with this movie, it was they drew it out. Like, I don't think it was. We didn't. I wouldn't say it earned its 4 hours, but I mean, it extended itself. It stretched itself out. Like, let's see how long we can make this.
Oh, well, actually, speaking of stretching itself out, this film is presented in a 4:3 format to keep the integrity of Zack Snyder's vision. It was so funny. It was so funny.
That message bothered me more than the 4:3 aspect ratio. Like, I was able to accept the 4:3 about 5 minutes in. I like, "Oh, this is whatever. I've acclimated." But that message, I was like, "Fuck you, fuck you, message."
Well, I
His
also
artistic vision, it's Batman.
Well, I'd also say, like, you know, IMAX, widescreen, you know, 3D stuff. Films have been created with that in mind to enhance the experience. And, you know, Justin and I have talked about this with the movie The Lighthouse. They used 4:3 as well, but it was to an effect to make it feel claustrophobic.
Right.
I didn't see two things. One, I didn't see the point in it. Like, I don't personally enjoy 4:3 aspect ratio.
No one does.
It didn't bother me.
You're not on an island there.
But that's the thing is, like, it also didn't bother me. Like, I didn't notice it. Like, after the first couple minutes, I got over it and I forgot about it. So the fact that I didn't notice it also proves that it wasn't necessary.
Yeah. It didn't bother me at all. It was just the message was just like, so,
Right.
you know, Zack Snyder put a lot of time into this. He put a lot of work into this thing that he was kicked off of, or whatever the details were. Because again, I didn't give a shit about the Justice League movie. I saw Batman versus Superman. I was like, done. I was out. I was like, hard send. I'll keep up with the comics. I'm out. So I don't even know the details. I don't know why he was removed from the project or why he left or whatever. But I just was like, man, this is so like self-serving. Like I feel like he asked HBO to put that there.
Yeah, of course. Like, or it was one of those things where, like, we have to let the audience know that this is nothing wrong with your TV or HBO Max. Right. The director intended it to be this way, kind of like with...
Well, it's just like he sat down and watched the entire movie from start to finish and was like, the entire time thinking, I think we need a message at the beginning. I don't think people are going to get it. Right. All right, put the 4:3 message.
Well, it was like when The Last Jedi came out, right? And theaters had to put a notice out for that one scene where it goes silent. They're like, by the way, this is... The sound didn't go out in the theater. Like, this is how it's supposed to be, because people are like, oh!
What does that say more so about the audiences nowadays?
That
you have to, like, so people are so quick to jump on fucking, you know, Twitter and fucking sound went out, blah, blah, you know, like, you got to say, hey, for 30 seconds, it's going to be quiet. Relax. It's part of the thing. Everyone just relax.
Probably because the theater people got so sick of people being like, you know, the sound went out. And they're like, it's supposed to be that way. Oh, I didn't know. And the next guy goes, hey, you know the sound? And they're just like, you know what? Put up a fucking sign. Like,
well, right. No, actually,
volumes to who we are as a society.
Yeah.
Well, because I think us as Star Wars fans can actually, when that moment happens, you can hear this sound in your head.
Mm-hmm. Silence. It's great.
Yep. There you go.
I feel like that's what you were looking for.
Either way, the bit works.
Look, I know in an article he talked about why the 4:3, and he said it was because it forces more of a vertical shot. You don't have things stretched out side to side. He said most of your heroes, unless Superman is flying horizontally, most of your heroes are supposed to be these very tall, very imposing figures. And so the 4:3 aspect ratio forced him to frame things more top to bottom, more vertically than horizontally. That was his, from an artistic standpoint, that was his explanation behind it.
Okay. I mean, I would say I'd go back and rewatch it to see if that counts, but I don't want to do that. So
yeah.
Well, the only thing I thought specifically, like the scene where Wonder Woman met Cyborg on the street, like all I thought was, well, if we just extended the frame a little bit, we just get a little bit more street, and we could still keep them. It wouldn't affect their framing at all. Like, I mean, there's anamorphic lenses for that reason. Like, there's ways around this, Zach. I don't know if you know this, but there's ways around this.
Yeah.
No, they just wanted to remove some of the CGI. I bet they're just like, we're just only doing the CGI for the shot, and then beyond the shot, beyond the virtual camera, there's nothing there.
Yeah,
because they didn't have the budget for that.
Yeah, like you're only get 70 million, so we got to stretch it out. We got to make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I thought the intro was a lot like the rest of the movie, where it was too long. It was just, I got kind of sick of hearing Superman's death.
Well, that's the thing too, is I actually completely forgot the fucking end of Batman versus Superman. It ends for me when he says, "Why would you say that name?" And then the movie's gone. The movie's over. So like, I didn't remember anything. I didn't remember who the villain was. I don't remember why they stopped fighting. It just ended. So then they start showing shots from the last movie, and I'm like, am I supposed to fucking know what's happening?
Yeah.
Because I don't.
Because they showed you shots. They gave it to you.
And then I was so confused at the Lex Luthor thing where he was in the not water looking at, and Justin kind of explained this to me last night, because I was like, I thought he was communicating with Steppenwolf, because at the end of Superman or Batman v Superman, you get the thing where he's like, Batman, they're coming. He's like, tick-tock or ding-dong, whatever, they're coming. And I didn't really understand how he knew that, but I guess the understanding is that he accessed the computer in the Superman ship, and it was showing him what else was out there. So then he knew. And I was just like, there was just sort of like things happening where I'm like, I'm really confused. You're seeing these boxes. I'm like, I don't know what these are. And I just, part of the problem with this movie was that it suffered from what DC has always suffered from, is that they move too fast with building their universe. Mm-hmm. And because of that, we haven't let it breathe. It seems like there's a lot of like gems in there that I just don't know like what's what. Whereas with Marvel, I followed enough of it that I understood, or at least they would tease something and then I could research it and I could get it. Whereas like we start with this and it's like the mother boxes. I'm like, what's a mother box? And they actually don't tell you what it is.
Right.
For a little while. I'm like, what is this thing?
Okay, so were they not in the Justice League movie? The first one?
Though they were. They very much were. Yeah.
Okay.
They were the central role. Yeah.
Because I didn't know that. I didn't know anything going in.
I forgot all about them. So
I didn't know what the mother boxes were until Bruce Wayne said, wait, mother boxes? And all I could think of, he's just as fucking dumbfounded by these things as I am. That's awesome. That's great. And then they explain it. They give you all of the exposition in about a 30-minute period of dialogue. Give and take a little bit.
Right. But relative to the whole movie, that was a fraction of time.
Yeah, right?
Yes.
It was just a small bit,
Yes. It was just one slow motion scene of time, all right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Where my mind was blown when I saw a Green Lantern just get murdered.
Yeah.
I was like...
Because I forgot it was R-rated, and I was like, whoa.
I also didn't know it was a flashback. I wasn't made clear to me that it was... I was like, are we just time skipping? Like, are we just in the future now? And then it happens again later in the movie, and I again just neglected to realize that this is not the current time. Like, because we get to the epilogue, and I'm like, how fucking far in the future are we? Why did they skip everything? Yeah. This isn't an epilogue. This is a new movie.
We'll put a pin in that because we're definitely going to talk about that for sure.
I think for me, I didn't mind that the mother boxes didn't get explained for two reasons. One, I made the mistake of doing a back-to-back double feature of BVS and Justice League about 2-3 months ago. Stayed up till like 3 a.m. watching it. Doug and Slotty got a earful from me after I was very regretful the next day. But the other... So I was very aware of what the mother boxes were from that. But I think from a storytelling perspective, I don't mind when a movie introduces something and then doesn't pay it off right away.
Right.
I'm okay with them being like the mother boxes, and you're going, what? Just fucking sit back and relax. Don't worry about it. It's like when I'm watching a movie with someone, they're like, well, what is this thing? I'm like, just watch the movie.
Right. Like watching a movie with my 5-year-old daughter.
Right, exactly.
So I just made a user error when I was watching the movie, and that was, I see the box crack. The box cracks. This is the beginning of the movie. The box cracks open. There's light coming out. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I don't know what this thing is. And then I don't know how much time passed. Something. I was just looking away, and then Steppenwolf was there, and I was like, did the box make him? Was he spawned by the box? Was the box summoning him? I don't know what the box is. And then I saw that Cyborg had a box, and I'm like, well, why does he have a box? It's going to make another Steppenwolf.
I was confused at how,
I was just confused.
These wormholes with just the transportation.
It's just a Bifrost. He just has a Bifrost.
But I was like, but who's activating it? I was like, where is this? I don't know where this is coming from. It's just, I'm like, okay, minor quibble, but I was like, I don't know how this is happening.
Yeah. Well, and I want to make it very clear to the audience, to everybody watching, about the 2 hour mark. I was into it, but I have a lot to say about the first 2 hours. And you can see it in my notes as like I just have less things to say, so I just kind of start saying like, yeah, Aquaman's cool. Like I just love these shots, and so like as the movie progresses, I become very into it. But while we're in these early steps, just like the movie, we're gonna be negative and then maybe move into something complex.
Well, I liked it because you do have that specific note in here that said, wait, why are they taking the box with them? If it spawned Steppenwolf, didn't it? What if it spawned another one? Like, you were obviously confused about what was happening.
So confused. How was I supposed to know?
I've always appreciated the Amazon part of the Wonder Woman universe on DC. I think they've done a wonderful job with them, like just seeing how badass they are. And I believe they're amazing at what they do. So I did appreciate that. But again, it's starting with that opening sequence where, Superman's just forever yelling and his death throes are just sort of echoing throughout the world. It's just taking forever. Same thing with this, like when the fucking temple, it's just, there was so much classic Zack Snyder slow-mo that was just like,
little known fact, if you sped up all the slow-mo sequences, the movie would actually have a 2 hour and 20-minute runtime.
Exactly.
It'd be a real movie.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, there's just moments where I'm like,
fact check that.
And
actually, this is also something you can fact check, is that if you cut the entire score of the movie except for Wonder Woman's theme, it would still be 2 hours and 20 minutes.
That's something I want to put a pin into is the music. But yeah, I thought that was cool and everything like that, but it was just it took I don't know, there's just times where I'm like, this is a lot, this is taking a long time, and I think we could cut stuff out of it. But I think it was a nice introduction to Steppenwolf in that you realize how powerful he is.
Which, by the way, I think he looked great. I think Steppenwolf looked awesome. Like,
yeah,
way better than the trailers for Justice League originally. Like, he looks really good. Like, he's up there with Thanos, especially when he sheds his armor a little bit. And it's just like his gross body. He looks awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. To your point, Doug, talking about, you said you were talking about how things were just moving too slowly, or how there was too much setup. Is that what you were just saying?
Well, it was more or less like the scenes, they drug on for so long. And I was like,
right.
An example of that was
a building collapse for 30, 40, 50 seconds.
Well, an example of that was, when Bruce Wayne goes to the Iceland area and he goes to the ice village and whatever. And then as Aquaman goes into the water after taking off his sweater, and then the ladies start singing, they sing like a whole song, like the whole song. And as they're singing, one of them bends down and picks up his sweater and sniffs it and then keeps singing. I'm like, why are we watching this?
And then they do it again later. And there's just a music video of him walking into the ocean off a pier.
Yeah.
That doesn't need to be there. I get it. He's cool. Jason Momoa's cool. I love him. Yeah. Aquaman's my favorite superhero, period.
And I love that shot of the water coming up. Like, it was cool, but I got like almost a little bit of Tarantino vibes, like we're doing this because it's cool. Like,
yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know where to put this in. I don't want to jump ahead, but
let's go for it.
I do think that a lot of I blame a lot of the faults on this movie on the studio and not so much Snyder. And the reason I say that is because if had gotten out of Snyder's way, because initially this was supposed to be a trilogy, a 3-movie arc with other movies, spaced in. Basically, it was supposed to be the MCU in DC. If they had given Snyder the runway that he needed to do this, I don't think he would have had to jam everything into this one. I think what he saw is he was like, look, I'm probably not going to get to do anything more than this. So here is the movie. Like, whether or not it makes sense, whether or not any of this is going to get paid off, here's the movie that I was going to give you. So take it. This is what I was going to do. You can talk to the studio when you're pissed off that none of this is going to get paid off. And I really think that Warner really needs to be left holding the bag on this one. I think Snyder gave us a good vision, and I think a lot of the shit could have been sped up had he known that he was going to get to tell more of this later on.
Yeah. And though I totally agree with you, like 100%, I still have to judge the movie at what it is, you know? It's like, it's a good movie, man. Like it really, like it is, but it's not any better than anything Marvel's ever made. And I'm not going to give something extra kudos because it's better than what it was supposed to be. You can't, like, you don't, your bar just doesn't automatically get lowered because you're better than the bad thing. It's a competent movie, and I'm going to give it the proper grading for what it should be as far as a competent movie goes. And that's it.
All right, guys, you can follow Mind Gap on all of it.
No, I actually like what you both said, because that is useful information to know, right? Because knowing that context going into this film, you're like, okay, this is his shot to be like, I'm going to put everything that I possibly could put out there, and this is why it is. Like, it makes sense, as opposed to like, you're like, why is this 4 hours? Why is the epilogue so long? Why is it's because he's like, I'm putting it all out there, and I'm not coming back to it. So this is what this is what I'm going to do. So knowing that is helpful. But also with what Noah said too, it's also then you get scenes like when Wonder Woman is stopping the reactionary terrorists, and she again, I love seeing Wonder Woman whoop some ass. But there's just things that happen in that don't make sense to me. You know, one gripe I'll have.
It's very, very bad.
Hey, I'm glad she can block everything with her bracers, even though she still has a shield. That's cool. Still using her bracers, whatever. That seems a little more difficult, but hey, once you get a shield and dastard, you got to do the next thing. So she beats wholesale ass. Very cool. But then there's the one guy left with his gun. He fires on everyone, and she's just ding, and then slow motion, she turns and looks, and she lets him reload. And then he reloads his gun, which I'm like, you can move really fucking fast. Why are you letting him reload? Mm-hmm. And then she's like, don't worry, I got this. And then she does her limit break. She explodes out the whole side of the building, like on that floor. And you gotta be like, there's gotta be some concussive blast that like half those hostages probably are deaf moving forward, at least.
Oh, absolutely.
If not having internal injuries from the concussive blast, because I don't think we always see her shooting stuff forward, but there's gotta be, a 360 effect, that's happening here. But those are the kinds of sequences where I'm like, you're establishing how badass she is. And I love, actually, you had a really great note where it was like, all this stuff is happening in broad daylight, and like Wonder Woman's on top of the building just watching it happen.
That was something that I thought when they panned up, I was like, you better not be standing up. She's standing there.
It's like, wait, you're just watching this happen? And also, you can only see what's happening until they enter the building. Like, you have no idea what else is happening. Like, we do.
It's not like she's thousands of feet in the air. She's conservatively 4 stories up. Like,
well, and this whole scene had me fucking writing. He said, we're going to take out 4 city blocks with this bomb. Dude, you're in a huge building. This is a huge building that probably covers multiple blocks. So what are you trying to accomplish with this one little C4, like 2 pounds of C4 suitcase? Like, what are you trying to actually accomplish here? This guy was trying to get TikTok famous. He didn't have any plan. They called themselves reactionary terrorists because they didn't have a name for their group. Like,
why would they have a name for the group? Because they're going to kill themselves.
Are you rolling? Are we on? Okay.
I don't think they were trying to kill themselves.
Hey, fam, it's us.
I low-key think the bomb was fake. I know it blew up, but like 4 city blocks.
Hold on. Low-key, I think it's fake. It did blow up, but I still think it was fake.
4 city blocks, man. 4 city blocks. That's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah,
that's a lot. That's a long stretch of land, and that little briefcase could not be packing that. With this guy had a suit. He got that at JCPenney probably.
Yeah,
he's not. No way.
I did like the flashback sequence that showed like all of the armies coming together and fighting Darkseid. I thought that was a pretty cool thing to see. how it works. I was a little surprised how Darkseid was kind of weak, like vulnerable, considering, what Justin and I just did a couple weeks ago on a throwdown,
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't live up to the lore that the stuff that we read about him. Seems like he should have just been like,
Yeah.
we're done.
He uses eye lasers.
Yeah, maybe he didn't reach full potential power yet. Maybe he's a young dude. I don't know how that works.
Yeah,
but
was that like adolescent Darkseid?
Maybe.
Yeah,
I mean,
Like he was just setting out on his own. He was having that gap year in between high school and college.
right? Because he was like, he took some arrow shots, and obviously the axe from Ares, was really what fucked him up pretty bad. But Jared says, I think that was a very young Darkseid, so maybe that had something to do with it. But because I was confused. I'm like, Darkseid seems like redonkadonk. He's several thousand years younger.
But how many thousands-year-old is he at that point? He's
Yeah.
a fucking old guy.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird. He seemed to be omnipresent in this movie, but pretty fucking useless.
Yeah.
And I as far as the anti-life equation goes,
Explain that to me.
Oh, do you want to know it? It's loneliness plus alienation plus fear plus despair plus self-worth divided by mockery, divided by condemnation, divided by misunderstanding, times guilt, times shame, times failure, times judgment. N equals Y, where Y equals hope and N equals folly. Love equals lies, life equals death, self equals dark side.
and that's just science. You can't argue with it.
I don't
Math.
like anything
math
that
checks
just
out.
happened. I don't like anything that just happened.
So
Why?
I did have.
Hold on. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Let's dive into this a little bit. That sounds like the result of a Gilbert Gottfried jerk off instruction.
I'm sorry. Did I not? Was I not clear, Doug? It was loneliness equals alienation plus fear plus despair plus self-worth divided by mockery.
And he's like, this equation exists on Earth, like,
Oh yeah.
and it's
Well, it does. Well, it does, Doug.
and it's found on the Earth's crust, like,
Right. That's where it is.
Yep. It's like graffiti on the earth.
See, because this tree is an aspen. You can tell that by the way that it is. See, the anti-life equation is on Earth. We know that it's on Earth because it's there.
Gotcha. Now I got it.
My name is Darkseid, and I got rock skin, but arrows still hurt.
And I've got lava eyes, so
And I got lava eyes. I liked their little hologram thing. That was like the melty goo face. That was sweet.
I did like that. And I did like seeing, like, Zeus was ripped, and that guy was
Yeah.
like, I will harness this lightning. I was like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like, I was a big fan of that.
Was
So
that Zeus or was that his son Ares?
His Ares was the guy with the axe.
Yeah,
Zeus was throwing lightning
was the
bolts.
father of Ares. So I
Okay.
thought Zeus was fake. I thought Zeus was not a real person. But when I saw this movie and he was there, I was really surprised.
Like in real life, like just sort of thing. Like I
Right,
didn't think
that's what
Zeus was
he-
real
right. That's what I'm saying.
until I saw him there. Now I think he might be.
Right. No. Well, he was there. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's how we know that he's real, because we saw him. He exists there.
Absolutely.
You
Right.
know?
Yep.
So
He-
I love
yes.
Zeus is sick. I want more of him.
It's true. I don't even know where that is in the notes. Hold on. I got a.
That was
piece word
awesome.
Shit. There it is.
So
Zeus was sick. I want more of him.
that was pretty cool.
Oh, interesting. So Jervis says Zeus is Diana's father.
That
Yes.
can't be right.
It's true.
Ah, no,
In-
he fucks.
In Greek mythology?
Well, I don't think Diana exists in Greek mythology, but in this
DC
lore,
mythology.
Checkmate.
checkmate. You lose, bitch. I really enjoyed Cyborg, this movie. I think Cyborg got a huge disservice in the theatrical release, and this movie, I gave a shit about him. I thought it was weak at times, as far as, it was pretty linear as far as the relationship and stuff goes, but I still enjoyed it. And he was so useful And I know a lot of folks said like he was supposed to be the heart of the movie, and I think he was. I think he really. It was cool to see understand his powers, understand truly what he is, where he came from, and yeah, it was. I thought he had a really great arc.
Yeah. There is no world where Cyborg's not a supervillain.
Of course.
In this movie, his origin story is a villain origin story. He's in a car crash. His mom died. His dad gave him nukes and
access to the financial system.
But he has a good heart.
Yeah.
So he's not gonna end civilization and become Terminator because he has a good heart. But I loved it. I did
motherfucker.
I absolutely loved his character. I mean, it was fucking awesome. It's a bummer that he's not gonna be in any of the future movies.
Yeah,
like it was really great, and I love Cyborg as a fucking character. He's awesome. Naturally, I didn't think he was that OP, so I'm glad that he's on our side, man.
Yeah, I was a little annoyed by his dad explaining to him all his powers. I'm like, how did you give him all these powers, sir? Like,
it was the mother box.
I get it, but I would assume that his dad wouldn't be able to understand the mother box. And
no, Doug, but it's the mother box.
Right, but it's the mother box. Actually, I feel like there is maybe some explanation for that in that because he crushed the tape, right? So like, was his father explaining it to him, or was that like the digi version of his father being like the mother box's essence explaining?
Well, he listened to a point where he said, now as your father, I want to. That's where he stopped the tape and he crushed it. Because he's like, I don't want to hear that anymore. Because then he recreates it and then plays it again at the end of the movie.
Right.
So
which that's great.
Which does he just control matter now?
Yeah, I think so. Because tapes are definitely not electronic in nature.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the original Justice League, the 2017 versions, like Cyborg made zero sense. It was like everything was rust. Thanks a lot, Whedon. But he made no sense. And in this one, he truly was, like he was the center of this movie. I gave a shit about him. I understood his backstory more. He had a very definitive purpose, and I legitimately wanted more of him. I'm like, fuck, I could watch this character, not the 2017 character, this one. I could watch this. And even Flash was less annoying than he was he was still our comic relief, but it was done in a much better way. It wasn't
definitely funny. I think that even the jokes that carried over from Justice League were still funny. I mean, he's a well-written character. He's good. And the actor that plays him also very good.
Yeah,
there was some funky stuff going on, like when he trips. I'm like, dude, he runs for a living. He's not gonna trip ever. So
he's still green.
He's nervous.
He's red. He's wearing a red suit.
I did not. I got really annoyed with his intro sequence. It took so fucking long for a guy who was running fast. His shit was so fucking slow all the time, and on top of that, I really didn't like a lot of the music choices they had in this movie. It totally brought me out of the moment. It was just like, in that whole sequence, whatever song was playing, I was like, ugh. It was so. I wish it would have been that. I would have lived with that. But whatever soundtrack thing that they had that they played, the song that was playing, I was like, ah. They had some really weird things too, like whenever I don't know, the music choices were very odd to me. And I was like, I don't feel like this fits at all. And I thought the sequences were cool visually. They were very cool. I like what they did with it. And I thought Flash was running weird a lot of the time. Like, he was like, I gotta reach for stuff, because that's how it works.
Well, look, you and I we've never run near the speed of light, Doug. So maybe that's just how you run.
Maybe that is.
You don't know.
Yeah, I did enjoy him. Like throughout the movie, he was nice. I like how they kind of took away some of his insecurities. Although I did kind of appreciate that scene in the original Justice League where he's like the first fight in the tunnels and he's like, I don't know what to do. And Batman's like, save someone. He's like, which one? He's like, get one and then just get another one. He kind of brought him. I appreciate the idea of Batman coaching him. So I wasn't mad that it wasn't in there, but I was like, I did kind of appreciate that scene from the original because here's a guy who's like really freaked out. He's like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do, and Batman's like, I got you. I was like, that's pretty cool. I really appreciated that. But
focus on one person and then move forward.
Let's balance this, constructive criticism with the fucking Mercedes they got in and drove away with. That was a fucking CG highway. Come on. What are you doing? Just have him get in a car and drive away. It's not, you don't have to make a fucking virtual environment for this. Come on.
I gotta admit,
it didn't exist how it was in his head. They couldn't find an actual highway.
You want it to look like Spy Kids 3D, dude? That was the vision. And even at the beginning of that scene, you started with bad CGI because the train runs through. You couldn't have. It was a CG train. Just get a real train. You're at a train set. You're at a train set.
I'm not gonna lie. I noticed none of this.
Same. I'm the same. I didn't see it either, dude. Like I read that, I was like, I didn't. No, I'm not gonna go back. But I'm gonna take your word for it.
The motion blur didn't match the shutter speed. Come on.
I will say in regards to the slow motion again, though. We've talked. It was an aggressive amount of slow motion throughout the entire film. I would say that if every scene and every character in every scene didn't have at least one bit of slow motion, it would have made Flash's slow motion that much more impactful. I feel like you reserve that for Flash because he is they all move fast. He is the one that moves real fucking fast. So show them moving fast, show him slowed down and how fast he's actually moving. To me, that gives a lot more oomph behind it. Instead of just going, hey, look, everyone's slow-mo.
Yeah, no, because I think that would have been great for a scene, kind of like what they did in X-Men whenever they had Quicksilver, and they showed those sequences where he would go, but also you'd see him just go around the screen really fast. It would have been great to have a cool moment, like in the tunnel sequence or something like that, where he's running around, he's just poking things here and there and doing that sort of stuff, and you get to see. I also just was like, oh, cool, he's just gonna turn back time. All right. He's like, I'm gonna break the rule. And he goes, there was a lot of that sort of stuff where I'm like, I was like, okay, fine, I'll let it go. Because we need this. We need to do this, to make this happen. It seemed kind of cheap, but I'm like,
but the thing was, they teed it up a few times though. Like you knew it was coming. It wasn't out of nowhere. Like you knew because they set it up 2 or 3 times. He talked about breaking the rule.
And I mean, I also made, I think, the part where the boxes do align less impactful because you did know, like, well, obviously they're going to, turn back time to fix this situation. Like, there was no, like, oh, I didn't, oh no, what are they going to do? It's like, well, I mean, going to fix it.
Superman disintegrated. They've got to reverse
I thought that was sweet. I actually thought
that was cool.
That whole visual was awesome. But I will say, I'm not Einstein. I didn't write, fucking space.
You heard
theory.
it here first.
I'm not. It's not me. But is just running at this, because I know that time is relative, and I understand that when you're traveling at the speed of light,
whiteboard.
When you're traveling at the speed of light, time relatively is different for you than it would be for us. And so, but does that mean that literally time moves backwards if you're running just in a straight line at the speed of light? It doesn't hold up. It's a comic book movie. I understand.
Right.
But
the thing is, I don't think it's a matter of him reversing time. I think he is running backwards.
He's running faster than the time that already happened.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's cool.
It all goes back to Speed Force and the central point of
It's better time travel than Tenet.
Still haven't seen it. Waiting for it to drop on HBO.
Yeah.
But something that actually has only ever really been mentioned in the Marvel comics that I think would be something really cool if we could get more of, as far as like the Flash or Quicksilver goes, is these people are fast. Their brain is fast, and like the way that they perceive the world is slow. And so it's like you'd think that, comparatively, Flash would be like a kind of an asshole all the time, because how Quicksilver in the comics explains his life is you're waiting at a roller coaster and you are never moving forward in line. Like the people in front of, like, it's just never going because like the ride's broken down, so you're just stuck in line. And he
Right.
lives his entire life like that. And I think that like if we would see any of that from any of these like fast characters would be sweet because they're like, oh my God, Batman, I get it. You're a superhero, dude. Let's go.
Well,
I can have this done already. If this movie wasn't 4 hours long, it would be over.
That's actually a really good point, and it's kind of
Yeah.
similar to Jessica Jones with the Purple Man, because his whole life has been spent telling people to do stuff, and they do it. And I love that scene in that show where he basically is like just waiting. He's not actually giving commands. He's like, wow, so you just sit here and wait for people to do stuff?
Yeah.
He's like, this is exhausting. So I kind of like take that same mindset of like, yeah, if someone was that fast, they'd be like, what the fuck? Let's go. Boom. Like they're just so used to,
Let's go.
like it must be almost kind of like torture doing that. Jakesla, thank you so much. Thanks for the follow. Thanks for loving our channel. Welcome.
I will say, I actually want to talk about what Jared mentioned. That Superman versus Flash scene was one of the best parts of the movie for me. Like that was tight. Like it didn't last very long, but it was great.
When Superman comes back and fights the Justice League, that was actually one of the standout scenes from the original. That I love that when he's running and he sees Superman just like turn his head and he's like, oh, what the fuck? Like
you can see that he's still very green, very not seasoned, and he's like, no one's ever looked at me before. What do I do?
Yeah,
I don't know how to handle this.
Yeah, he's like, oh shit, and it was really and it honestly, like, Superman's giving him some time to breathe was really nice in this, because in the original movie he gets revived and then coming back to like when seeing Steppenwolf throughout the movie, what kind of sucked in the original was like Steppenwolf just beat wholesale ass just the whole time. There was no hope. Superman shows up and basically it's just like, someone turned on the cheat code, game over. Whereas in this version, what I really liked was you got to see them individually get their ass beat, but when they teamed up, they were more successful. You got to see them when they were working together, and so I feel like that added to the fact that then when Superman shows up and is able to punch Steppenwolf down, you realize, I don't know, it meant so much more than him just showing up and being like, sorry guys, I'm here, game over now. Like, while they couldn't beat Steppenwolf, they were trying, they were attacking. He was annoyed by them. He was annoyed by their attempts to stop him, but he was more powerful. And then it just seemed to mean more when they all came together.
And you could argue that Aquaman got the killing blow, which was awesome. I know that he threw him and then we had he got somebody else, but no, he stabbed that guy through the.
Yeah, right.
And that was sick. I was like, yes, Aquaman needs love. He's gotten a lot of screen time, but we need people to realize that he's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, Aquaman was. I appreciate a lot of his stuff in this. And one thing I also say is people get stuck in walls a lot. They get punched in the walls, and they're like,
it's like Dragon Ball Z.
They have to pull themselves out. I'm like, God damn, man! Like this is brutal.
I will say, Aquaman, not a trident.
It's a
five.
So it's a quindent,
pentadent.
There we go.
It's a fork.
So that's my Aquaman
big ass fork
complaint.
Yeah, no, I like. I do like. God damn it, Noah. I do like what they did with Aquaman. It was definitely they toned down Jason Momoa's dude bro-ishness, which I was very grateful for. He was very.
He still got the my man in there.
He did, but I didn't mind it as much because he wasn't like woo as he's jumping through the air and stabbing these demons and stuff like that. He was a little more brooding, which I kind of liked, and it was pretty decent.
It was rough having seen the Aquaman movie, just having to ignore it. just the fact it's like, oh yeah, that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah,
that's
that was odd because I enjoyed that movie too, as much as you can enjoy an Aquaman movie, I suppose. I'm glad that we got some Willem Dafoe in here, though.
Yeah,
I mean, just like underwater, wet Willem Dafoe is fucking brilliant.
Oh yeah,
I'm here for it.
Me too.
Some of the best filmmaking, I think.
Great. I want to talk about Batman real quick here.
Please.
He was interesting in this movie. There you go, Justin. Nice. I liked him more in this version than the other one. I seem to understand more why he just had guns and was shooting for some reason. Like it made more sense in this movie as opposed to the last one, picking up what obviously was plastic guns and firing at stuff. I was like, wait, is this all he's gonna do? Like he had a more powerful, like, I need to get these people together. He was the glue that was trying to pull people in. Him being like, I'm gonna go draw them off. You guys go in and take care of business. Almost like he understands his role and that, look, I can't punch Steppenwolf, all right? Punching Wolf, that's his new name. Punching Wolf is going to tear me a new asshole. So what am I going to do? I'm going to draw them away, and that's going to be my thing. And you got to see him kind of, because he doesn't do a ton of action sequences in the film. Like, he's not doing a whole lot.
He even like the superhero like pose, he was in the car.
Yeah, right?
Which is super funny.
Exactly, because he had to, because everyone else could fly.
Bro.
Yeah, which I appreciated that shot. It reminded me of the Age of Ultron,
I appreciated the shot. I just thought it was really funny.
Yeah.
It was unreasonably, like, it was just big car.
Yeah.
Just people. They're just people. And then big car.
Yeah. I also got kind of annoyed just logistically. He's got these guns on the front of his car, but it doesn't look like they're aiming. They're just straightforward. And these parademons are just getting in the line of fire, like flying in front of it and getting mowed down. I was like, come on, you guys have wings. Like, just fly up and shoot down. Like,
go up.
Go up. And, I liked, I liked Batman. He was good. It was interesting. I'm with you, Noah. I don't know why he's the only one that has visions of the future.
Still not on board with this whole,
because it just blows me away. Like we watched the entire epilogue. I'm like, what the fuck? The Deathstroke, and then he's on the team now, and then the Joker's there, and he was like, and you're like, what the fuck? Aquaman is dead. What is happening? And
Wonder Woman's obviously dead. Like, everyone's dead.
And then it cuts to him talking to fucking Martian Manhunter, and you're like, why the fuck? Who is Bruce Wayne? He's just a dude. What the fuck? He's just a guy. And he makes a joke about it earlier, too. He's like, what's your superpower? Being rich. It's like, if I had a dime for every dollar I had, I'd have a lot of dimes because I have a lot of dollars. It's like, dude, we get it. You're Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. Martian Manhunter.
Why do you speak Icelandic?
What? He's rich. He paid for, Babel.
He's got Rosetta Stones.
He's got the Duolingo membership.
Yeah, he's good. Yeah. He definitely did that. Martian Manhunter, in my opinion, had no business being in the middle of that movie, like, at all.
I was into it. I love Martian Manhunter, so I was just happy to see him there. I mean, happy to be included.
No business being in the middle of it. I would totally have taken him at the end where they introduced him. Again, I don't understand the point of him pretending to be Martha Kent, coming to see Lois Lane, and then 2 days later at 2 a.m., Lois Lane is like, maybe I should go back to work in the middle of the night. I'm like, what was that? Why? What was this?
And then, because that was the one thing I had trouble with the Superman revival scene. In the original one, Batman planned on having her there so that Superman would see her. Like, as he's getting his ass kicked, he's like, pull out the big guns or whatever, put out the secret weapon, and it's Lois. Yeah. Whereas in this one, it was purely coincidence that she was there at the time when they revived him, and she just happened to stumble into the scene and was like, Clark? And he's like, huh? Which I had more trouble with. Hey, Castwave Studios, thanks for the raid. Thanks for the host. Good to see you again. Hope you're well. Glad to see you. So that kind of bothered me a little bit. I like, because Batman is the guy that plans. That's what he's known for. He's sees all the angles. He's got stuff lined up. This time he's like, I've got these bracers that will block. And I'm like, Superman, just look down at his dick and scorch his dick off. Like, just aim. Like, he's like, oh no, I can only hit his forearm. Ah!
Just like the parademons flew right in front of the guns.
Yeah.
Yes. It's like they needed that to happen.
Yeah.
I will say completely. Go.
No, just real quick, because it'll take a little while for this to catch up on the stream. Jared said, because Martian Manhunter needed to get Lois back into the world. I want you to explain that more in the chat, Jared. Noah, please go ahead.
You're talking like tax-wise, like she needs to get out there because the city needs taxes on her revenue, her income? Like she needs to get out there and spend for the economy? Like, tell me what she needs to do.
So I'll say that there was actually like I don't know if you call it like a cameo or an Easter egg, but throughout the movie, Lois Lane was actually there, and you could see her on screen. I don't if you are paying attention. Seemed shoehorned. She seemed like she was there because she had to be. Like every single time she was on screen, I was like, okay, I can go up and like brush my teeth. I brush my teeth a lot in this movie. Like every time we hit slow-mo, I went and brushed my teeth.
My dentist loves this movie.
Actually, he hates it. He doesn't want you to take care of your
every
teeth.
time Lois Lane was there, I'm like, this.
She's grieving.
She's here because we need to know that she's grieving and that she is gonna move on right before meeting Superman again in the black suit.
Yeah. You make a good point too. Why didn't they clean up the statue? Like they just left it there in ruins.
They just kind of left it. This has to be like weeks after the previous movie.
Yeah, right.
So they just kind of left the statue there. I know they did have like police barricades, like, oh, don't go over, don't go into the area where the Superman statue is. But there was like flowers on it and stuff.
Yeah,
like they were flowers like by his head and stuff. So
yeah,
people were going.
I think they were leaving it there again. They were leaving it there just as a reminder.
Statue.
This is
a
where,
broken statue.
more or less,
it's more art. It's like Snyder's version of a statue is one that's just crumbled on the ground and.
When it's done being there, it's going to go to the Gotham Museum of Contemporary Art.
Statue that's as big as the Burj Khalifa. Like, somebody else, he's like, he started on it. He started chiseling away, and he's like, I don't want to do this anymore. And then somebody else made the statue. Is like, and it broke. And like, okay, so now we're just gonna make an Eiffel Tower size statue.
Yes.
So why does it need to be that big? His dick is 3 feet, dude.
Super dick.
So, real quick, I want to talk about the epilogue.
Yes.
But also real quick, Martian Manhunter in the movie, fine. What I really didn't like was how he ended with like, Bruce asks, "Who are you?" He doesn't really answer the question. Then he sort of like, a couple minutes later goes, "By the way, some people call me Martian Manhunter." I was like, God, did you have to say it? Like, just
I go by many names, but you can call me Dr. Green.
I don't know,
Martian Manhunter.
It's just like, it was weird. It was just weird. It's like, hey, I'm Martian Manhunter. It's like, God damn it. Like, let's just.
Some people call me Martian Manhunter. You can call me Tristan.
Jared, you're defending this so hard. Yes, we have cleaned up the Sphinx. The nose that broke off isn't there anymore. What the fuck are you talking about? I know you liked the movie, dude, but you can criticize it. It's okay. The statue shouldn't be there anymore.
It's a hazard, at the very least,
No, it's not. It's got police barricades.
There we go.
True.
Moving on.
Police. Never mind.
So, the epilogue. So, also what I'm used to with sort of like these end credit sequences is something that's quick, snappy, grabs your attention, and leaves you wanting more. This was long. This is a long dream sequence where Batman's in the future. Like you just said, no, we get introduced to Deathstroke. And he's like, oh, cool, I want to get Bruce Wayne, because that was supposed to lead into the Batman movie with Ben Affleck that's no longer happening. That was supposed to set that up. And then we go to the future where Deathstroke's now on the side with them. And then you got Cyborg, you've got Flash, you've got the Atlantean lady, and then you've got the Joker. And Batman
name drops Robin.
Yeah.
Who's like, that boy I killed yours.
Yeah,
like,
right.
At least, we got
I'll say this much. Are you okay?
I was legitimately expecting, just like with all the fucking wacky shit that was going on, I was expecting Willem Dafoe to come back and be like, I got you, Spider-Man. I'm the Green Goblin.
I will say this much. I did kind of enjoy the conversation between Batman and Joker. I didn't really understand it, but I liked the antagonistic parts of it. And also, it seemed like Batman got under Joker's skin a little bit too.
Yeah.
Which was really, really interesting. Cool. And hearing Batman drop an F-bomb was oddly satisfying to me.
Right?
Yeah, I was like, wow. Because he's like, he basically is like, I'm going to kill you, just so you know, because I will, because I hate everything about you. But he's also just like threw that thing in about Harley Quinn. So is Batman implying that he killed Harley Quinn?
Maybe
I don't think so.
I think that she's just. So I think in the Justice League, the Snyder universe, the Harley Quinn TV show is canon. So she left him for Ivy.
Okay.
So now they're just being happy doing season 3 of Harley Quinn.
Or she's. I mean, I'm assuming in this universe too. At this point of the timeline, she's also dead, and because he obviously makes a remark about just trying to get under his skin. I don't know. I kind of enjoyed that, but at the same time, it was so long, and I was just like, Jesus Christ! Like I loved you. You had some notes in here where you were like, let's see here. Jesus, they're dropping a lot of info. How far in the fucking future is this? It's unraveling. I was enjoying this, but now I'm upset. And Deathstroke's here? We just should introduce him as an enemy. Jesus fucking Christ, why? Why is Bruce the fucking Oracle having visions all the time? This sucks. And you're just like, we've introduced an entire plot with 20 minutes left? Good job, movie. Like, just...
Yeah.
It was paced
I would
weird.
honestly say that the movie was probably a 4 out of 5 for me until the epilogue started, and it bumped it down to a 3 out of 5 for me. And that's serious. That's just how I felt about it. Like it really just hurt. It just hurt my overall enjoyment of the movie.
And that's and again, I know the intention was this, Snyder had, like Justin said, 2 more movies.
Yes.
It was going to be a situation where Darkseid comes, he ravages the Earth, he turns Superman bad, and then we would come together in the 3rd movie. All the armies would come together again like they did in this, and they would fight Darkseid, and we'd have a great time. And he was just basically like, hey, this is kind of what I was going for, but kind of like also what Noah said in the beginning, still got to grade it, Not what it could have been or should have been, just like Justin has nailed me a couple times where I'm like, a better way to do it would have been this. It's like, yeah, but they didn't do it. So you got to live with what they have.
Yes. Right. The movie is not Endgame, it's Infinity War, but it's the movie that we got. Yes. It's the movie that I watched. I understand. I'm the first guy to understand everything that goes on as far as behind the scenes stuff go. And I can respect the director as much as anybody else. The movie that I watched was not as good as anything Marvel has ever made, with CGI on par with Black Panther. Like, I'm sorry, it's good. Like, I liked it.
Yeah,
I feel like we have to, and this is a rare occasion where I'll say this, but I feel like we almost have to stop comparing this to Marvel. Like, it's an unfair comparison because 10 out of 10 times it's going to fall short of Marvel. It's not like we can no longer compare it to Marvel. We have to look at this and go, how was this? Marvel doesn't exist. How was this? You know what I mean? Like, we can't say this. Well, Marvel does in sequences like this, and Marvel sets it up like that. That doesn't matter anymore. This has to be looked at by itself.
Yes, and all I'm saying is the movie did a competent job of being the movie that it was trying to be, and that movie is just okay. And it did a great job of being just okay.
Justin, I agree with you to a point, but kind of similar like when you go to Universal Studios, you know that Disney World's out there, not that far away. And it's a theme park, it's entertainment, they've got rides and stuff like that, and you're like, well, these are kind of
movies
different.
are all just theme parks.
They're kind of like similar experiences, and it's the same thing where I also look at this as DC was trying to compete with Marvel in a sense of like they were doing a lot of similar things. You are absolutely right in that this is not an apples to apples comparison, but it's really hard not to let that seep in because at this point I've been trained by Marvel, and every superhero movie has this high watermark. Venom,
absolutely,
everything that Sony puts out, everything like even The Boys and things like that. I'm approaching at it from a lens of like, all right, what is the gold standard? But I think to your point, we also have to like diminish the weight of that and be like, okay, this was a movie. How was it?
Let's do this. Aquaman versus the Justice League. Let's do it. Because Aquaman was never self-serious. Like, it was never this thing that was supposed to be, Iron Man. It was never supposed to be this thing that's like, this is the greatest fucking superhero movie that's gonna make all the other superhero movies the next superhero movie. It's just, this is Aquaman. It's the fucking water guy, but we have a cool actor playing the water guy. And so, and it does that well. And I would give that movie a 4 out of 5. Like, because I sat down and there was no point in that movie where, yes, I can criticize it, but there was no point in that movie where I wasn't enjoying it all the way through. So as just another direct DC property, and I was enjoying almost everything as far as the Aquaman stuff in the Justice League movie goes, but it did better at doing what it was trying to do than Justice League did doing what it was trying to do.
That's a fair point.
I'd have to go back and rewatch it. I've only seen it once, and I cannot recall details from it.
That's how you know it was a good movie.
Yeah. The final scene was not great, but like, yeah, whatever. Fucking water fight. What are you gonna do? Fucking sharks with lasers? Oh wait, they did that. It's
Fucking sharks with frickin' laser beams on their frickin' heads. Yeah, he got it.
So score 1 for the movie, I guess.
Yes.
I liked it. Like I don't know what else I can say.
Yeah,
I liked it.
For me, the epilogue. If we're wrapping up on that, the epilogue. I liked the concept that this is where Snyder was taking it.
Yeah.
And this is where his this is where his ideas were. Did we need it in this movie, knowing that, I would say to Snyder, like, hey, look, if you're not going to get to do it, why tease it? I understand that's where it was going. I would have been fine with it if Jared Leto wasn't the Joker. I'm just not a Jared Leto fan as the Joker. Exactly. To me, Jared Leto, I like Jared Leto when he plays weird standalone characters that don't exist. Like when he's trying to play this character, which exists, and there's a deep, deep, deep legacy with it. It felt like someone watching him play the Joker felt like watching someone try to play the Joker. And I didn't get like Joaquin Phoenix and Heath Ledger, and for all intents and purposes, Jack Nicholson, I bought those guys as the Joker. I lost those characters. Yes, sure, absolutely. I lost all of these people in the role of the Joker, but Leto, I'm like, oh, that's Jared Leto playing the Joker. So that for me killed the whole epilogue. Personally.
He was way better than in Suicide Squad, though. I mean, there wasn't much of him in Suicide Squad, but I
felt the same about him.
I was still like, oh yeah, it's the Joker. I like it. It's very nice. I don't know. As far as your point about like why give us this if it's not gonna come to anything, I think that we can just call it what it is, and that's just like it's what he wanted to do. And I mean, and that's fine. Yeah. It was cool seeing the characters, even if we never see them again. Like seeing Deathstroke on screen was cool.
Absolutely.
Seeing Martian Manhunter in all of his CGI glory was cool. It's like they're characters that I love, that I'm cool. I'm glad to see. That's all we want. We don't need entire miniseries based off these characters. We just want to see what they would look like in our world, and that's cool with me.
I'm legitimately hopeful, and I might be alone on this, but I'm legitimately hopeful that that Warner looks at this and goes, "All right, Snyder, here's some money. Do what you want to do." Because I would love to see the rest of his story fleshed out personally.
Yeah.
Yar.
Is that where you stand, Doug?
Yar.
Great.
So we're on the same page.
Welcome to the Throwdown.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Throwdown.
All right, Dougie, you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do this. This week's podcast, or Throwdown, brought to you by Noah, and it is Jared Leto's Joker versus Iron Man 3 Mandarin. So, we've got...
Can we just do this like we did the last one, guys?
Yeah, what do you mean? Go for it.
End it immediately.
The Mandarin?
That's Jared Leto's Joker.
Wait, why?
Because we need to get some clarification from you.
Yeah.
Because when you threw this out as a possibility, are we talking about the real Mandarin, or are we talking about Ben Kingsley?
No, I'm talking about Ben Kingsley.
Oh, Jared Leto's Joker.
Yeah,
then.
of course.
Yeah,
without a
that was
doubt.
my
Oh
that
my
was
God,
my
are you
joke.
kidding me?
That was
Yes.
the joke that I made when I pitched
okay.
it. But if we want to take this, if we want to take it to the
I thought we were talking about Guy Pearce's character.
Yeah,
sure, then that's fine. Then we can do that too.
Yeah, Ben Kingsley's fucked. I mean, he's
yeah,
a dead man.
Right. That's what that was the joke that I made when I was pitching it. So yeah, let's go. I mean, fuck yeah.
He's gonna
All
get
right,
fucked
go
in
ahead.
the
Let's hear
body.
it.
Who do you guys think? I mean, fucking Mandarin's got magic powers, man.
Well, not that,
Does he?
not like the
In real-
like
Oh, well, I
Guy
guess he's got
Pearce's
Yes.
character. So he's got like the what is it?
Extremist.
I was like Exterminatus. Like nope,
the-
that's Warhammer 40k.
That's Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Yeah, with him with the Extremist, he wiped the fucking floor with him. Like
Yeah.
hands down, Joker dies. Done.
Yeah, because I mean, the only reason Joker doesn't die is because people don't want to fucking kill him because they're superheroes. So it's like if you put Joker versus, and I know that he's like in different things he's competent. So like you could argue that maybe the animated series Joker could maybe last in a fight, but like Jared Leto Joker just seems like a guy. Like we haven't seen enough of him to know if he can do anything other than get somebody else to do his shit for him.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I don't even believe that he set up that floor of knives by himself. I think that he had somebody do that. I think he hired like a carrot
Interior
to do that for him
designer?
or whatever.
Well, you bring up a good point because we don't really see him do much in Suicide Squad, right? Like people are terrified of him because he's crazy and he's kind of like a mob boss. But we don't actually get to see him do much. We don't see him as a guy with a plan, which is kind of what the Joker is both
Right.
and not at the same time. And so that's kind of what's terrifying about him is he knows how to bring out the worst in people and play their worst parts of them against themselves. And I just don't see that with Jared Leto's Joker.
Well, and that does bring us to the epilogue a little bit. Because clearly this Joker and this Batman have a history. Clearly he did kill Jason Todd. They allude to that. So at some point, this Joker did all of the shit that happens in The Killing Joke. Like
Right.
he at least as far as speculation goes, did cripple Barbara Gordon and killed Jason Todd.
Mhm.
So at the very least, I think that it probably still isn't much of a fight, but it's maybe not as easy as we're thinking it is. At least at some point, he's got a turning point where he goes full Joker to do
But again,
like,
if you're
some of that shit.
if you're going against someone who has the extremist thing in them,
Yeah.
like that's still game over. So I think if it's Ben Kingsley's Mandarin, if it's Ben Kingsley's Mandalorian, it's
Jason
it's
Todd
Joker all
died
the
in
way.
Death of a Family, not Killing Joke. That was my bad.
Yeah. if it's Guy Pearce's, it's him all the way. So I think we need, first and foremost need to make that distinction. Who is he fighting?
Yeah, I'd say if it's Guy Pearce with his abilities would be able to defeat the Joker, unless the Joker was able to somehow pit him against something. But this Jared Leto's Joker, I haven't seen it yet, so I'm gonna give it to Guy Pearce.
Yeah.
So we're doing Guy Pearce Mandarin for the win. No.
Yes.
Yeah.
This was fun. This went by really fast. I was checking the time. I'm like, oh shit, we gotta get through some more stuff here. This is so much fun. Noah, thanks so much for coming back and chatting with us. Please take this time to promote anything you got and anything you'd like to recommend. The floor is yours.
Well, let's see here. What I got is my Twitch and my Twitter and my Instagram, my personal stuff that you can follow me at Noah Reno. That's ATNOAHRENO. That's where you can find all my goofy shit. I post food pictures on Instagram and one-wheel pictures on Instagram, and I do dumb Twitter things on Twitter. And my Twitch, I play video games, and that is just about it as far as that goes. And then if you are interested in this I'm legally obligated person that isn't me, JJ PogChamp, that is just at JJ PogChamp on TikTok, and then at JJ PogChamp 69 on Twitter. He does a lot of really crazy, goofy shit, and I'm sure that you'd get a kick out of any of it. And the more followers I get, the more followers he gets, the more serotonin and stuff he gets, and the more drive he has to make more stuff. So if we can get that stuff rolling, that's all I can do. I gotta recommend Arcadian Wild, Finch in the Pantry. Amazing album. Listen to it every day.
Also, JJ PodChamp made an appearance on the show. Like he brought in a soundbite, so we support him here at this podcast.
Yes, very much so, yeah.
Yeah, and I highly recommend checking out Noah. He streams a lot of cool stuff. He does Fall Guys. He's done Loop Hero recently. He's very engaging. I definitely like watching his stuff, so you should check him out on Twitch. Jurston, what do you got to recommend this week?
Besides recommending Zack Snyder's Justice League, I would say go out and watch it. I am going to recommend You Haven't Heard This Music podcast. Doug and I got to do a guest spot today on that podcast, and it's going to be coming out, I think, on Monday.
Monday, March 29th.
Monday, March 29th. And these guys are just fucking awesome. Richie and Wayne, you gotta go support them. So please check out You Haven't Heard This Music podcast. If nothing else, you're gonna laugh and you're gonna learn about some really cool artists that you have never heard of and you should probably be aware of.
Yeah,
so go check them out.
What's great about them is they exist to highlight the indie artists that are out there.
Right.
People submit to them all the time. They pick their favorites. They showcase them. They interview them. They send them a lot of love, and it's really cool. So if you yourself are a musician or an artist, you should definitely check them out. Submit your stuff to them. They're phenomenal, and
yes.
We had a lot of great fun with them. We're hoping to get them as guests on the podcast. You know, UK time differences is a little tricky, but we're going to make it happen because they're fucking great. And they were so kind. They pulled a lot of the clips from our show just to play. Like, they played the Doug Hates Stuff song. They played the camel farting stuff. They even pulled the, oh, fuck me, slotty. Like, they did all that stuff unprompted. And
right.
It was very, very cool. So check them out.
Cool guys.
Very
yeah.
cool.
Doug, what do you got?
I actually want to go, when you're wrong, you're wrong, and I was shitting on Days of Future Past, and I went back and rewatched it. That's a pretty goddamn good X-Men movie, man. Like, I used to, hang my hat on First Class. I rewatched First Class, I'm like, I don't know. And I'm like, I only saw Days of Future Past one time. I went back and rewatched it, and I was like, this is actually really, really good. Like, I take back what I said. I recommend X-Men Days of Future Past.
There you go.
Peace.
Pretty decent.
In addition to that, please, everyone, don't forget to follow us on all our social medias at MindGap Podcast. Also, check out our YouTube channel. Smash that subscribe button. We post all of our episodes there, as well as highlights from our shows and our Twitch streams. And please follow us on Twitch, twitch.tv/MindGapPodcast. We do our record and broadcast our podcast live on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Central, and we do our video game live streams Saturday nights at 8 p.m. Central as well, so come check that out. Justin also has credentials that exist in zeros and ones.
That's true. On Instagram and Twitter, you can follow me at Justin_Michael, spelled Mikel. It's the fun way of spelling it, and while you're in the online realm, check us out on Spotify, on Stitcher, on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Verbal, Podbean, all the places. Share us, like us, subscribe, rate, review, all the things. And sharing is the big one. It means the world to us. So please share us around. Let people know we exist, because a recommendation from you goes a long fucking way.
Goddamn right.
And 2east8.com/mindgap. And then just keep an eye on all 2 East 8's social media handles, because we've got stuff coming out, and Drew's posting a bunch of good stuff, and we got other stuff, and stuff's happening and stuff.
Yeah, stuff.
Yep. Stuff.
So, Noah, once again, thank you so much for taking the time to hang with us and provide your insight. This was an absolute blast.
Thank you all.
Thank you, buddy.
And I want to say, Justin, thank you.
Douglas, thank you.
Twitch, thank you.
Listeners, don't forget loneliness plus alienation plus fear plus despair plus self-worth divided by mockery divided by condemnation divided by misunderstanding times guilt times shame times failure times judgment. N equals Y, where Y is hope, and N equals folly. Love equals lies. Life equals death, and self equals dark side. Don't ever forget that, listeners.
Boy, I hope that was worth it.
6.
Yes. Very good. You all have a dandy fucking week!
Mind Gap Podcast.